Okay, picture this for a second. Imagine a world power just rolls up and offers to buy your entire country. Not a company, not a building, the whole thing. It sounds like something straight out of a movie, right? But believe it or not, back in 1946, this was a very real and very secret proposal. So let's get into how this absolutely wild $100 million offer even happened. So let's rewind the clock. The year is 1946. World War II is finally over, and the United States has a proposition for Denmark. It's simple. We want to buy Greenland from you. And the price? A cool $100 million. I mean, that was a staggering amount of money at the time. And get this, it wasn't just going to be a bank transfer. The offer came with this incredible detail. The payment would be made entirely in gold. Solid gold bars. For the world's biggest island. An offer that bold just begs an even bigger question. Why on earth did the US want Greenland so badly? To really get this, you've got to see the world map the way the Truman administration saw it. The dust from World War II was still settling, but you could already feel the icy chill of a new conflict on the horizon, the Cold War. And in that new world, Greenland was suddenly vital. American strategists looked at Greenland and saw a giant, unsinkable aircraft carrier parked right in the Arctic. Geographically, it's sitting on the shortest flight paths between North America and Europe. That made it the perfect spot for a listening post, a forward defense line against any threat coming from the east. Let's break it down a bit. The big fear was a potential Soviet attack coming right over the North Pole. If you control Greenland, you control that airspace. It's that simple. It also meant you could deny that prime real estate to any rival. For the US, this wasn't just a good idea, it was a non-negotiable security must-have. So, with the why firmly established, the plan went into motion. And the setting for this incredibly audacious pitch? Well, it was just as grand as the offer itself, the famous Waldorf Astoria Hotel in New York City. Yeah, this was not some casual conversation over drinks. We have the diplomatic cables to prove it. The U.S. State Department, with President Truman's backing, made a formal, top-secret offer. This was a serious, high-stakes geopolitical play. From the American point of view, the logic was pretty straightforward. Almost transactional. They had a huge national security problem, and they saw a solution that looked like a giant real estate deal. Buy the asset, secure the border, problem solved. But Denmark? Oh, Denmark saw things completely differently. So the Danish response came back. And while it was very polite, very diplomatic, the message was crystal clear. Absolutely not. There was no counteroffer, no let's talk about it. The idea was just completely rejected right out of the gate. And this slide, it just illustrates the clash in thinking perfectly. The U.S. saw a strategic asset. Denmark saw sovereign territory. The U.S. was making a security calculation. For Denmark, it was a matter of national honor. You have to remember, they had just come out of 5 years of foreign occupation in World War II. The very idea of selling off their land and their people was just unthinkable. So here's the bottom line. For the Danish government, you just don't sell your people. You don't sell your territory. It was a concept so completely foreign to how they saw themselves as a nation that the $100 million in gold, well, it was almost irrelevant. The offer was shot down. Case closed, right? A total diplomatic flop for the United States. But what if I told you that by losing this deal, the U.S. actually got exactly what it wanted in the end? See, the story doesn't end with that big no. That rejection forced the U.S. to get creative. They had a realization. Their main goal wasn't actually owning the land. It was controlling its strategic location. And this was the pivot. It was their plan B. If you can't buy the house, maybe you can just lease the most important rooms, right? So the U.S. switched gears from a real estate mindset to a diplomatic one. They started negotiating a defense agreement that would give them the right to build and operate military bases on the island. And in the end, this was arguably an even better outcome for the U.S. They got their Northern Shield, they established their Arctic presence, and they didn't have to spend a single gold bar or take on the massive responsibility of governing the territory. It was a strategic victory that came right out of a tactical defeat. Now, you might be thinking, this is all just a cool story from the history books, a fascinating little footnote. But the thing is, this story didn't really end in the 1940s. In fact, the question of Greenland's strategic importance is maybe more relevant today than it has ever been. Just look at this timeline. You can see a clear, consistent pattern. 1941, the U.S. takes over Greenland's defense. 46, you get the secret offer. That leads to the 51 defense agreement and the US bases. And then, whoosh, fast forward to 2019, and the idea of buying Greenland is publicly floated all over again. The question never really went away. So why does this keep coming up? It's because the fundamental reasons are exactly the same. With new shipping lanes opening up in the Arctic because of climate change, and with renewed competition between world powers, Greenland's location is, once again, a critical piece on the geopolitical chessboard. The strategy of securing access and denying it to rivals, that's timeless. So this whole wild story from 1946 leaves us with a really provocative question for today. In our modern world of global finance and shifting power dynamics, where exactly do we draw the line between a strategic asset and sovereign territory? What actually has a price tag, and what is truly completely priceless?